welcome to a brand new episode of HOPStart. It's that show which talks about various careers and other rubbish that I'm sure all of you really care about. I am here at the most interesting furniture store I've ever been to. It's called the Furniture Republic, and we're going to interview their CEO, Anubha. So let's just go.
I'm Anubha Gupta and I run the Furniture Republic.
Hi Anubha, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to let us interview you in your beautiful store.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
You want to give me a little bit of a lowdown on what is the Furniture Republic?
So the Furniture Republic basically is a store that has limited edition, home decor pieces. We specialize mostly in living room furniture and rugs.
Okay.
We have over 600 rugs with us.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And is the Furniture Republic a studio space that you design, or do you mainly source the furniture elsewhere?
So we do both.
Okay.
We do complete customization, and in addition to that, we source from all over the world and from India.
Okay, that's really interesting. So having a furniture space over here in on MG Road. MG Road is known for furniture.
Yes.
How do you deal with your competitors then?
It's got its pros and cons. It's very good for us to be in the heart of the furniture market of India, I would say, because even today we don't have furniture stores or furniture markets in most cities of the country, right? I get customers all the time from Calcutta, Kanpur, even from the south of India who are making their houses. So the good thing for us being in this market is that anyone in the country who is currently building their house is going to make a trip here. So we get to meet with, house owners from around the country. The other side of this is that, you never know, three stores down, someone could be selling things that look similar to yours but may not be the same quality, and then they're able to manipulate the price. So it does get dirty at times, but I think being here has more advantages than disadvantages. And obviously for the consumer, I think it's a great place to be because you can see there are over 100 stores here, so you can actually come here, spend 2 days and get a feel for everything that India has to offer in terms of retail furniture, right? So I think from the consumer point of view, is the best place that you can come.
So you say it's great for the consumer, right? And
yes.
I assume it is. But do you want to maybe comment on the fact that, living in 2019, we have, a host of e-commerce sites that also provide, furniture services.
Yeah.
So is that competition kind of killing you, or do you feel like, no, you cater to a very different space because, coming here to your store is its own, I want to buy so much because I've seen so much at your store.
Yeah. So let me give you a two-part answer. The first part is that just like it was the case with clothes until 5 or 6 years ago, people don't want to buy a sofa until they try it.
Yeah.
Right? It's not as standardized as, like in India now we have certain mattress brands. We have certain, brands for white goods and other things. But for furniture, we don't have a brand here such that people can trust it without wanting to try. So that's why retailers win out, because you're able to let people experience the material, the comfort, and these are things which, when people are building their houses, they're very attached to that activity. For them, they've spent a lot of money doing it, a lot of social, status and other things are attached to your new house. So it's a good thing to be in the retail industry instead of the e-com industry. The other part is that quality and pricing, right? On the internet, it appears to be the case that the lower the price, the higher your chances of selling something, which means at some point you have to compromise on the material and the quality, right? And again, with a one-time long-term purchase like furniture, that strategy is not always also what the consumer wants. So we get a lot of people who have shopped online, who've bought a sofa, who've bought a chair, who've bought a bed, and then it's fallen apart in a couple of weeks. So then they come here and then they actually value the fact that something is marked at a higher price, but you're getting the quality as well.
So then you think it's important then, as a furniture store to understand that there are markets that there is a certain echelon of the market that you're trying to, sell to more than the other? Like, for example, you think that that's the most important thing to understand when you're getting into this business, that, hey, are you selling for like everyone, or are you selling for, a certain price point?
No, of course, you can't sell to everybody, right? There is a certain kind of clientele that we cater to, right? We cater to people who are building a house for life, right? There are youngsters who are moving to a new city for a couple of years. That's not our target audience, right? There are people who are looking to put, one extra chair in some room of the house. That's also again not our target audience. We're focusing on people who have now come into their, late 40s, early 50s, have bought a house, are now settling into the next leg of their life. They want to marry off their kids in a couple of years, and actually this is the audience in the furniture industry. That is the person you're selling to. You're either selling to people who've just gotten married and are doing up their new room, new house, or people who are past 45, 50 and have bought their first house.
Moving from rent to ownership. I understand.
And both of them are very, these are milestones of life. So that's when people are very driven also to treat it as, this is it. This is it. This is the next phase of my life. I want to go all out. I want to splurge. I want to get the best.
So that's, you're right. In terms of at least these two milestones, the way you target it, I guess, is very important. But what do you think one of the pain points is of this industry currently? Like we talked about a little bit about MG Road, we talked a little bit about retail space. What do you think is one pain point that the industry is facing that they're not really getting right?
So again, two-part answer. I think the first is this information asymmetry which exists because it's a completely unorganized market, right? Unless I am able to spare time to go and visit all the shops that are just down the road from me, I have no clue what's going on in the market. Most other industries don't function like this. Education, healthcare, banking, all of these industries, even fashion, right? It's very easy to figure out what the other person's doing. But in furniture in India, even today, you're basically operating in the blind. And the other part, I think, is, which maybe stems from that, is pricing.
Okay.
So the consumer feels a very strong need to negotiate on the price, which to us and to other sort of larger stores around the country is a bit of an issue, because we're not prepared to give 15, 20, 30% discounts. That's not, we're not a little shop in the corner where you mark up whatever price, you decide the price
also because
based
you're not
on
making the furniture yourself.
And it's just, it doesn't, there are fixed costs and there are other things. The business has to run. You can't be negotiating with every client. You can't. So I think those are things which hold growth back,
So that's interesting. Because I guess, you might have to deal with a lot of bargaining customers, because I guess that's the norm,
everyone,
right?
Yes, exactly. That's the norm, because people believe that if they're buying furniture, they have to haggle. If something costs $1 lakh, you must get it in 50, otherwise you've overpaid. But those days are over. We're not, everyone in MG Road, I think if you'd go and just do a little market survey, everyone would agree that we struggle to price our things fairly. Because we don't know whether to expect to give discount, or to start being very firm and then lose out on relationships. And we as a brand really value service, right? So for me, my team, it's important that the customer feels well taken care of, right? So if we have to let go of our margins for that, I guess we do.
So dealing with bargaining customers must actually, I can understand why it's not really your fault, the fact that that's just become the industry standard and that they expect these things.
Exactly.
But we'll be back after a very short bit to continue talking to Anubhav. welcome back to HOPStart. We're actually having a chat with Anubha, who is the CEO of the Furniture Republic, and we're talking about some of the pain points in the furniture industry. Now, why don't you tell me something a bit more personal, not just with you, but with Furniture Republic?
Yeah.
Let's say one difficulty that you faced in this industry that the Furniture Republic uniquely managed to get over.
Very interestingly, the answer to that is good customer service. I think that is our biggest differentiator in the market today. And like we were talking earlier, this is a highly competitive street, right? And one where you're often operating in the blind. So understanding your customer, making them feel safe and comfortable, making sure that even after you've sold something, you keep in touch, you're helping them procure other things. When someone's building a house, they don't just need furniture. It's a very stressful time in somebody's life, and it's one that goes on for quite a while, So I think we really pride ourselves in almost becoming partners with the customer in their journey of building this home, which represents a lot of dreams and a lot of expectations for them.
That's I mean, I guess So when you say your USP is customer service, you want to give me a bit of a sneak peek into what makes you different with your customer service? Like other than contacting them, is it also the fact that I don't know, do you also take your furniture back to get fixed? Is there stuff like that?
Right. So for example, one thing that we do is some customers have interior designers, but a lot of them don't, and they come into the store and they're very confused because they can't imagine their space. So we'll actually pack everything up that they've shortlisted, take it over to their site, display it, let them have a sense of what it's going to look like, and then say, hey, just take your time and let us know if you like it or not. So that gives them a lot of confidence, and people feel very happy about this because then they know exactly what they're buying.
That's actually insane. I've never heard of any furniture store that does that.
And people really love it, and I think it means a lot to them for rugs, for sofas, things that are large and you don't know. Sometimes, people, I'll be telling them, no, this is too big. They're like, no, it's not. Oh, hey, this is too small. The room, you're not doing justice to the room. No, it's not. So that's where you're able to show them how to showcase their personalities in the best possible way.
I mean, that would be really, really nice. So I just like to ask then, personally about something that I've always been fascinated with in terms of interior design and furniture is there any science to the madness? And by that I mean in choosing color combinations, you need some fancy degree to tell you, hey, you know what, yellow goes with orange, that's the rule, or is it more like, hey, let's just figure it out as it goes?
So I'll tell you what I tell my customers. A lot of things such as proportion, symmetry, all of this is a science, right? It does make an aesthetic impact on whether you're able to create a symmetric room or not, on whether you're able to match the colors properly or not. Just subconsciously as human beings, in fact, let me tell you something very funny. So Darwin, who of course we all know as the guy who discovered natural selection and other things, wrote one more book, which was on the evolution of beauty and on the evolution of aesthetics, and he studied birds in a lot of detail. I know I'm going a little off topic, but it's going to loop back. And he actually argued, much better than I'm about to, that aesthetics are pre-programmed. Something is beautiful or something is not beautiful. It depends on proportion, depends on geometry, on the angles, on colors. So till there, yes, it's a science. Yes, you have to know that certain things just don't go with each other. However, as I tell to my customers, that it's a very personal choice. It's your house, it's your office, it's your kid's room. If it doesn't sit well with you, it doesn't matter what science says, you have to live in that space. And like I say, you try it out. Why don't you see how this looks? If you like it, great. If you think that science is making sense for you in this particular room, no problem. If you think, no, I prefer it my way, then we have to honor that choice, and we have to say that it's completely your call.
Of course, I get that. But how many times do you actually work with interior designers versus you working straight with the family that wants to settle in?
So that actually is something that I as a store owner don't control. That depends on who's coming to me.
No, of course. I was asking like statistically.
Oh, statistically, so we do a lot of business with interior designers. You know, those are the people who are bringing in clients repeatedly. I would say much more than half of our business comes through interior designers. Also because clients trust them, and now it's almost in fashion to hire somebody to decorate your house, right? So just that job profile is growing, and there are more people offering those services. But like I said, we get a lot of people who have their own sense of style, and they're confident about it. And so they actually feel that an interior designer would box them in, right? Who enjoy the process, who actually love. I get customers who come in, the regulars who come in and say, we've just come in for a stroll. We just come in just like that. We just want to see what's new. These are people who drop by, all the time to just
check it out.
Enjoy the space, right? And that's what we're trying to create. We're trying to create these little rooms all over the store, which you can feel could be your house.
But I also wanted to ask you advice in general about people who want to get into, because we've met a lot of interior designers on this show. Like I think we've interviewed at least 3-4 across this last year. But I don't think we've ever interviewed someone who represents the other side. Who the interior designer goes to. That hey, this is a store, I'm going to go here. So anybody who wants to enter this industry rather than the interior designing industry, any advice you'd give to people who are just entering it, what they can do better than maybe you did because you were kind of clueless when you entered?
So I think based on what my store and my customers have taught me, service is the only thing that's going to help you.
So even so they can have ugly furniture stores as long as their service is good. Will that work?
No, I mean obviously not. You'd have to.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, but what I mean is that there are a lot of people who think, and we were talking about this earlier actually, that just because you're a designer doesn't mean you can run a business. Right? So just because you can do up your house beautifully, and you've done your house and your cousin's house and your mother's house, that doesn't mean that you can open a furniture store and sit and say, now I'm going to sell. So running a business has a lot less to do with taste and a lot more to do with service, and by service I mean understanding your customer, right? So you have to, yes, you have to keep abreast with the trends and other things, but more than anything else you have to understand that if people who are coming to your shop are looking to buy things that were trending 5 years ago, but you insist on bringing in things that are going to be trending in 2020 or not, you can be very stylish. You can have you are great, but that's not how you're going to be able to satisfy your clients.
I mean, I guess you're right. Thank you so much, Arba. This has been an absolutely fantastic chat.
Thank you so much.
And good luck with the furniture.
Thank you.
Thank you.